So much of our lives is spent just like, I've been doing this for what are we talking about? What are we doing? What is this person saying? Me being more aware of my breathing. I'm not breathing enough. And I'm just like, why am I not breathing? The most important thing is put your damn phone away. Ladies, gentlemen, letter friends, welcome back to my neck of the woods. This is PartyWolf Podcast, and today we're going to be continuing our small win series. Today's small win and discussion is going to be meditation. I'm not going to be talking about meditation scientifically or spiritually. I'm actually just going to be talking about it practically and going over some of the ways it helped me in my daily life. It's easy to hear someone talk about meditation that is, famous or maybe has a lot of time on their hands or seems like they have a lot of time on their hands. And we think as everyday people working full-time jobs and often living from paycheck to paycheck that it would be impossible or extremely difficult to find time or even use for something like meditation. Meditation actually started as a small win for me. However, it's grown into something much, much bigger. Starting out today's episode is a quote from Marcus Aurelius, and actually on going through the episode, we're going to be revisiting some of his quotes, but from another book. This is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. He was a Roman emperor and regarded as one of the last great Roman emperors. Men seek retreats for themselves in the country, by the sea, in the hills, and you yourself are particularly prone to this yearning. But all this is quite unphilosophic when it is open to you at any time you want to retreat into yourself. No retreat offers someone more quiet and relaxation than that into his own mind, especially if he can dip into thoughts there which put him at immediate and complete ease. And by ease, I simply mean a well-ordered life. So constantly give yourself this retreat and renew yourself. The doctrines you will visit there should be few and fundamental, sufficient at one meeting to wash away all your pain and send you back free of resentment at what you must rejoin. No retreat offers someone more quiet and relaxation than that into his own mind, especially if he can dip into thoughts there which put him at immediate and complete ease. That is my favorite part. And when I first read that, I don't even think I had started meditating yet, or maybe I tried a few times. But this was the goal. This was always the gold standard. My goal for meditation was to be able to spend time in my own mind and be at ease. Because most of the time, all of my ease and all of my comfort came from external sources. Having something outside of your control that is responsible for, making you happy, giving you peace, keeping you calm, leaves too much room to cause more unease in your mind. Depending on where you live, it costs money to go to the beach. It costs money to go to, the hills or the countryside. If I want to go to my favorite hiking spot, I've got to drive an hour and 15 minutes roughly to get there. But it's an option. It's not the only option, and it's not the best option. The goal for meditation for me was to be comfortable in my own mind, with my own thoughts, and for a very specific reason. Before I continue reading, not many people know, but in my last relationship, I wasn't faithful. It's something that caused obviously a lot of grief between me and my partner. Meditation was a goal for me, specifically this type of meditation. Being able to be at ease in my own mind was detriment to my development as a person, honestly. For over a year, I had been plagued with guilt and anger at myself, hatred for the decisions that I made, as well as my actions after those decisions were made. I hated being alone because it meant there was nothing to distract me from all the thoughts, all the negativity, all the self-hatred. And I knew that if I didn't do something about that feeling, that I would be in trouble. I needed a way to not hate the silence. So I treated it like I treat anything else. If something's hard and you can't do it, do a piece until you build up the ability to do the whole thing. If you can't lift 200 pounds, but you can lift 100 pounds, lift 100 pounds 5 times. Do that and then do 105 pounds. And eventually you'll be able to do 200 pounds. So I had trouble being in my head. I had trouble thinking clearly. I had trouble making decisions because every decision I made, there was always, will I regret this later? Will I hate myself for this later? And so meditation being one of the ways that I decided I would be able to move forward. I would do just a few minutes here and there. And it was almost just to to prove to myself that I can sit still, my mind won't trail off, and if it does, practicing the ability to bring it back, not being afraid, not every time, but not being afraid to go down dark paths. And that's the work. Some of those paths were dark, but I had to walk them to get through them. And there's light at the other side, but it doesn't come, immediately. My mental exercise was, sitting still for 2 minutes and just not doing anything. And not doing anything is very hard when you have a lot of things that you wish you hadn't done, or a lot of things you wish you had done. The first goal was just to be able to stand myself. The next goal was to try to have better thoughts, think more positively about myself. So one of the books I'm reading is The Daily Stoic, 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Typically in this book, every day there's a different quote by a Stoic philosopher, and then there is a sort of explanation or real world approach or modern day approach or some sort of example on that specific quote. This one's from April 1st, and it's titled The Color of Your Thoughts. It's a quote by Marcus Aurelius from his Meditations. Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought. The human spirit is colored by such impressions. I found myself in this loop of, you messed up, you can't do anything right, you'll keep messing up and keep doing stuff wrong, so just avoid, everything. But then I would be lonely from avoiding people, which would just play more into being alone with my thoughts. As I practiced being able to just, be still and think and not be afraid to go down, the paths and find the positive things, the overall tone of my thinking started to change. And the more that started to change, the more I found myself wanting to be alone, wanting to be on a hill in Hocking Hills, away from everybody, off the trail, and just appreciating life in the moment. That doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen easily either. I went from being someone who had music or the TV on all the time. If I'm home, even when I wasn't home, sometimes I would leave the TV on like a 24/7, just like music, subtle music playlist, just to have something when I walk in the door, because I don't want to walk in the door to like an empty sound. So I went from being someone that constantly had music or TV or a podcast playing in the background just to drown out the sound of my own thoughts, to someone that, sometimes I forget to turn something on because I'm just too busy thinking or planning, pondering, wondering, questioning things, or, whatever, but it's in my control. That's the main benefit that I have mentally is, sometimes if I'm having a rough day, if I can just take 2 to 5 minutes and just breathe, meditate, and either think, and whatever I'm thinking about, I just got to run it out, just got to get down to it, or get my mind off something and put the energy into something else. Now, something more physical and practical meditation does for me is me being more aware of my breathing. In my regular life, I've noticed there's times where I'm not breathing enough. There's times when I'm at work and I'm running around and this person needs that person needs this, and I'm just like, and then all I do is I go, oh, why am I not breathing? All right, what else I gotta do? Let me figure this out. Okay, good. And then I go on. It's the brief pause that, isn't necessarily like a, meditation or anything like that. It is a sense of coming back to center. When I meditate and my brain trails off, I start thinking about something that I didn't intend to think about, because meditation isn't about clearing your mind or emptying your mind. Sometimes you're just focusing on a thing or a thought or a concept. When you do that, sometimes your brain wanders, and it's fine. It goes off, you bring it back, you keep going. Life's the same way. You're on a task, you're doing something else happens, throws you off, you bring it back, you keep going. If meditation has taught me nothing else, it's that. Coming back to center, focusing on what is important, and moving forward from there. That's not something you would think would come from sitting still. Those are things specific to me in my life. One thing that might be a little more common is your ability to live in the present more often. Mindfulness, being present, being aware, just the simple act of continually focusing on the now helps you in moments of life where you get distracted. But I feel like it's a lot more simple than just spending time in your head. Part of it is just time. A specific and easy measure of progress is time, because there's no weight that's lifted, there's no hill to climb, there's no distance to travel, there's no vertical jump. It's just sitting with time. And I think sitting with time puts the present in perspective, because you understand that you don't get time back. If you sit and scroll on your phone for 20 minutes, it doesn't feel like 20 minutes. It feels like it was 5 minutes, 2 minutes? The time is gone and you don't even regret like it leaving, or you may not be aware that it's gone. You may not be aware of how much time you spend scrolling on your phone. But when you meditate, you know exactly how much time you've been meditating for. Or when you finish, it feels like that time or longer. Do more things that make your time seem more accurate, more valuable, and like you've spent more time doing it, if it makes you happy, obviously. But when you meditate for 5 minutes per se, when that 5 minutes is up, it probably felt like 5 minutes, or maybe it felt like 7 or 10 minutes versus scrolling on your phone for 20 minutes. And it only felt like you were scrolling for 5 minutes, but all of a sudden you're late for work. And so I think meditation kind of does that. But when you do it continually in your everyday life, you have more of those moments where you're like, what am I've been doing this for like so much of our lives is spent just like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? So whether your goal is to be your own retreat, live with mistakes, being more mindful, being more present, being more aware, being aware of your surroundings. Meditation isn't just, eyes closed. Being aware of what's going on around you is a form of meditation. Sit somewhere, put your phone away. The most important thing is put your damn phone away and just feel, be, observe, inward, outward, whatever you feel helps you. If you do want a super scientific explanation, I would recommend listening to Dr. Andrew Huberman's podcast. He is a professor from Stanford University. He talks a little bit about meditation and how it affects the brain and the benefits that it has on, cognitive function and things like that. This is just me talking about how it's helped me. I hope it's helped you. I myself consider myself to be a thinker, but I couldn't do that if I'm afraid to think and if I'm distracted. And this gives me the boost, the calm, the tranquility, the peace that I need. So again, what's your small win? Do you do it every day? Every other day? With meditation, I try to meditate at least 3 times a week, but I would love to increase both the quantity and duration of my meditation sessions because it is becoming very addicting. Before you go, if you like the video, leave a like. Comment what one of your small wins is. Leave a comment if you've tried meditation, if it's worked, if you thought it didn't work, how long you did it, what your approach was, and how you felt afterwards. I'd love to hear. Thanks so much for watching. Check out more videos about small wins here. And if you don't want to miss any more of my upcoming videos of how I lost 50 pounds in a year with no dieting, no counting calories or nothing, hit that subscribe button.